DreAllDay.com. Tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves all of us, especially you, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together in one bundle, one package, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one book, one show, one masterclass. This daily show that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic is why it is good to want material possessions. Now, the reason why we're even discussing this topic is because this is something that I've heard many people say. They'll say, go after a goal and don't worry about the material things that come with it, whether that's money or a nice house or a car. All of those things come. You know, the people who make a lot of money or they're publicly noted for having made a lot of money, they'll say things like, I was never focused on money. I never worried about money. I just focused on doing the thing that I wanted to do. I focused on getting my message out there. I focused on doing something that could change the world. Whatever it was that they're known for outside of their financial success or their material success. And then all those other things just came with it. And in some ways, this is accurate. I don't think these people are lying. I don't think they're trying to deceive you, at least not all of them. However, let's keep it real, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes we want the money. Sometimes the reason why you're working so hard and you're going to work every day and you're trying to create products and build a brand and put yourself out there and all the other things that you're doing these days, you're doing it because you want to make some money. You want to make money so you can go on vacation, so you can take care of your kids, so you can retire your mom, so you can pay off your bills, so you can get out of debt. Whatever the things that you're trying to do, sometimes the money is the thing that we want. Sometimes you want the car. Sometimes you want the house because it makes you feel good. It allows you to say, you know what, I have this thing. I went and I worked hard and I earned the money and I was able to purchase this and now I have this. Now I own this. Now this is mine. You can take a picture of it and post it on Facebook or Instagram and get some attention for it. Maybe that's what you want in life. There's nothing wrong with wanting the things that you want. As long as you are not violating anyone else's rights, as long as you are doing it ethically, as long as you're not breaking the law, there's nothing at all wrong with wanting the things that you want. So while many people actually will preach to you about, well, hey, you should just go after, the goal, the outcome, the changing the world and doing something positive for other people, and then the material things will come with it. Don't focus on the material things. Sometimes you can focus on the material things. Today's masterclass is all about why there is nothing wrong with focusing on the material things. All right, it is not wrong at all. And I want you to understand, listen, I didn't grow up riding around in any luxury vehicles. The first time I rode in a luxury vehicle was my own. When my parents first came to see me, when I was living in Miami, I grew up in Philadelphia, PA, for those of you who don't know, but when I moved to Miami, I was already in my 20s, and they saw the building I was living in, this high-rise condominium building, that kind of building they had never been in their lives, kind of building that I never saw growing up where I grew up. They seemed more uncomfortable just being in that building than they were excited that their child was living in that building. I grew up indoctrinated with a certain mindset around material things, and a bunch of material things that I never had access to. I didn't know anyone who had access to them. I didn't know anyone who even thought of ever having access to these things. So growing up with that mindset around these material things, I'm going to explain to you why it is okay to want material stuff if that's what you want in your life, especially for those of you who grew up maybe in the ways that I grew up. You weren't around people who had it. You didn't see many people who had it. At least nowadays, we got social media, so now you can see everybody. I mean, even if you don't know them, you can at least see the stuff. Back then, I mean, we barely had, the internet was not the internet, even though it came around sometime in the 90s. Nowadays, y'all can at least go find it online. Back then, we couldn't even find it online. All right, we had to look in a magazine, or maybe it came on TV, but for the most part, it wasn't in our consciousness. But I'm going to help you understand this here today. Point number one, today's topic, once again, is why it is good to want material possessions. Number one reason is if you can conceive it, you can achieve it. I mean, everybody's heard that saying before, right? If you can conceive it, if you can believe it, you can achieve it, you can do it, you can have it. Everyone's heard some form of that statement, right? It's in every personal development speech, every motivational talk, every online meme that's supposed to be inspiring to you is telling you something like that. If you can see it in your mind, that means you can actually do it. Everyone agrees with that, right? The thought exists in your mind because it's something that you not only want, but is also you are also capable of having it. That's the reason why your mind was able to conceive it. Your mind can see it. That means you can go make it happen, because we've all heard that, and if you haven't, now you're going to hear it, that the human brain is incapable of distinguishing between imagination and reality. So if you can imagine something in your mind, that means it can be just as real as you allow it to be, and you allow it to be real in your mind. You can see it before you actually tangibly have it. Then you can go out and you can figure out, you can draw the bridge from that picture that you have in your mind to actually tangibly owning that thing or having that thing or doing that thing or being that person, whatever is going to be in your life. This is something that I cover deeply in my book, The Mirror of Motivation, which you can get for free. Just cover the shipping by going to mirrorofmotivation.com. All right, the thought exists because you're capable of having it. So if material things are the style, so to speak, you know how people talk about style versus substance. So if a material thing is the style and bringing true value to the world is the substance, listen, who says you can't have both? Now I hear people talking about this style versus substance argument. Any of you who've ever heard that, people talking about, well, this person has style, meaning they can show off and they can look good and all of that. But then this other person, they have substance. They're actually bringing value and they're doing something good and they're making things better. You know, they are just increasing the overall value of what's available out there in the world. Understand that you don't have to pick and choose between the two. You don't have to have style or substance. You don't have to have cake or eat it. I mean, it's impossible to eat a cake if you don't have a cake. And if you have a cake, what are you going to do with it? Is it on display? You're probably going to eat it. So in life, understand that these either or cliches that you have grown up hearing, these aphorisms that people have that are telling you that, or indoctrinating you to the idea that you have to choose between this one and that one. Understand that's not really the way that it works. Okay, you can have both, but you just have to put yourself in the frame of mind that you can have both. And you need to understand why you can have both, because I guarantee you somebody's going to challenge you on this. And if you don't have an answer, then they're going to send you right back to the indoctrination swimming pool that you grew up in, or you grew up immersed in. So material things are having style. So this is, you go on Instagram and you see someone who posts every picture, they're on a vacation or they're on a boat, then they're in a plane sitting in business class, then they're standing in front of a car. Everything that they're doing just seems to be, you know, some type of, what do they call it? Like influencer marketing. They're showing off their quote unquote lifestyle, right? They're a lifestyle entrepreneur. If that's the entrepreneur, those are the style things. And then substance is a person who is giving you some motivational talk. Then they're giving you something really smart to make you think. Then they're telling you a story that will inspire and motivate you. Then they're showing you something that they're doing that's helping the world out. And that's the substance individual. Understand that somebody can be doing both. All right, they can offer substance to the world and they can also have some style in the way that they do it. You do not have to pick and choose. This is what we call scarcity thinking. When someone tries to put you, they can't put you in a frame of mind. When they try to put you in a frame of mind, and sometimes they succeed, that you can either look good or you can do good. You can bring value to the world, or you can just look like you're bringing value to the world. Listen, there are people out there who bring a lot of value to the world and they don't draw any attention to themselves. You might not even know that these people exist because they don't really focus on, you know, the branding or the marketing of their ideas, but they do have really great ideas and great material. Those are the people that you got to go digging to find those individuals. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's the way they want to carry it. There are also individuals out there who have they focus a lot on the marketing and the branding of themselves, meaning drawing attention to themselves, getting seen, heard, and known for whatever it is that they want to represent or they want to be known for representing. But then when you look into what they're offering, they don't really have anything other than these pictures of these cars and these houses and these vacations, or, you know, something about their physical body that they want to show off, and there's no substance behind it. There are a whole bunch of people in both of those categories, but there are also some individuals, and I like to put myself in this category, who they do focus on drawing attention to themselves and marketing themselves and making sure at least the right type of people know them. And then when you look into those individuals, there's some actual substance there. They actually are a thinking individual. They have something that can make you better. It's not just about them showing off themselves, but they're also going to give you something that's going to make you better. They are putting value out into the world. They're putting more on the table than they're taking off the table. These are the people who are doing both. All right, and this is not everybody. And there are some people who are really good at looking like they're doing both, but they're not actually doing both. And there are many people who are only doing one or the other. It is your job to decipher what group each person is in. They're in group A, which is a lot of substance, no style. Group B, a lot of style, no substance. Or group C, this is the most important group. This is the group where they're offering substance and style. And that's what I prefer. It exists because somebody has to have it. And I'm talking about, when I say that, I'm talking about the material thing. So whether that's a luxury car that you saw in a magazine, or you saw somebody driving it, or you're walking somewhere and you see it parked and you stop and take a picture with it, take a picture in front of it and take pictures of it, you're like, yeah, that's the car that I want to have. Listen, it exists because somebody has to drive it. All right, that car is there to be purchased, okay? And that someone can be you who purchases that car, who owns that car, who drives that car. It is nothing wrong with wanting something that is material. Just because other people don't want it or other people don't believe they can possibly have it has nothing to do with how you need to feel about yourself and your potential and your possibilities in life. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is why it is good to want material possessions in your life. Number 2, maybe you just want what you want. I mean, why do we even need to come up with justifications for it? Maybe sometimes you just want something. All right, you just want yourself a nice handbag. Ladies, nothing wrong with that. Gentlemen, you want a couple pairs of Jordans that you want to buy. So what? You want a car? You're driving a Honda and you want to upgrade to a Bentley or a Mercedes, and you can make the financials work. All right, what's wrong with that? If you're not hurting anybody else to get it, if you're not violating anyone's rights, you are being ethical in how you go about it, you're not cheating or lying or stealing, what's wrong with that? If you can get the thing that you want, who has the right to say that you can't aim for it and actually have it? Do not allow other people, especially those with scarcity mindsets, people whose mindset is, well, you either have to do one or the other, or people whose mindsets are, they have this concrete ceiling above their heads. I know you heard of the glass ceiling. I'm talking about the concrete ceiling. All right, that's the one where they can't even see through it. All right, you can't see through concrete. You can at least see through glass. The concrete ceiling that a lot of scarcity thinking individuals have, that there's only a certain level that they can aspire to in life, and they try to put that same mentality on you, because human beings are social creatures. We want other people around us who think the same way that we think. And there are a lot of people out there who are like this. They have this scarcity mindset about themselves. So when they see you trying to have a mindset that goes a little bit further and higher up than theirs, they try to pull you back, not because they're haters, not because they're negative people, but because they just want other people to be around them thinking the same way, rather than doing the work that would allow them to expand their minds, which is where a person like myself, I take it upon myself to help people do this, at least those who are willing to listen. Expand your mind and see that there are other ways of looking at things in life, whether that is going up, whether it's going out wide, whatever it is in your life. Those people don't want to do that work to expand their minds. They just want to bring other people to think the same way that they think. Some of you have heard this analogy used as crabs in a barrel. You put crabs in a barrel, one crab tries to climb out, the other crab's just pulling back in. And we don't know why, because we can't interview the crabs to find out why they do this. We just know they do it, so we just start calling it crabs in a barrel. But understand, if someone tries to shame you for wanting something or for even having things that are material, understand it is the same thing with material things as it is with confidence. That usually when people are trying to shame you for having a material thing, you got a nice car, you're showing off your body, you're showing off your material possessions, and you've earned them justly, and you have some substance to offer to the world. Maybe you don't have any substance. Maybe you just want to show off your car, and you just want to show off your ass. If that's what you want to do, it's perfectly legal to do that. And when people criticize you for that, you should look at that the same way that I explained to y'all when we talk about confidence. When I did a TED Talk called Too Much Confidence Is Not Your Problem. And you can watch that TED Talk by going to toomuchconfidence.com. That people are often seeing in you what they have chosen to not be able to see in themselves. That's why people criticize you for being more confident than they are. Or they'll criticize you for having material things that they don't have. It is not your problem to fix. If a person just can't see something for themselves that you have not only seen, but actually manifested in your own life, and they have a problem with it, that's their personal problem. It is not your problem. Wanting things is not a crime, ladies and gentlemen. Wanting material things is not a crime. Going and buying a material thing, having a material thing, none of those are crimes. There are a lot of people in this world who want stuff, and when you get them, all right, that's why business is business. All right, business exists because there are things people want, and there are people who have it and are willing to sell it. That luxury vehicles exist, and nice houses exist, and vacations exist, and the business class and airplane exists because there are people who want it, and there are people willing to sell it, and the exchange then occurs. All right, nobody's doing anybody wrong. And the people who are not involved in these transactions, listen, if they want to hate because you're involved in that transaction and they're not because they can't be, not because they can't work their way up to getting to that point. Maybe they can't do it right now, but they could if they wanted to, but they don't want to go that route. Listen, that ain't your business. That ain't your business that they can't see for themselves what you can see for yourself. Most people who are listening to this, if you're a salesperson, you sell anything, you are probably not selling. I'm going to assume, and all the salespeople listening to me right now, you probably do not sell food, clothing, and shelter. Okay, at least not essential food, clothing, and shelter. Some of you do. Some of you sell essential foods, essential clothing, and essential shelter. When I say essential clothing, I'm talking about like Pampers for babies, socks, underwear, things that people just have to have in their lives. Now, if you're selling bathing suits and you're selling Jordan sneakers and you're selling Louboutin shoes, those are not essential clothing. Sorry, it's clothing, but those are not things. People don't need those. Sorry, people want those. Those are wants, and there's nothing wrong with wants. Okay, I'm not degrading what you do. And if food, clothing, shelter. All right, any of you who's in real estate, are you selling like Section 8 housing? Are you selling like basic? People just need a place to stay, period? Or are you selling some higher level stuff, some luxury stuff, some high rise stuff? People don't need that. I mean, they could live somewhere for half of the price of what you're selling them stuff, but people want it, right? And that's why there's a market for what you sell. That's why you make money selling it. That's why you got into that industry, because there are people out there who want these things. And that's completely fine. All right? I'm not degrading it. I'm actually giving you credit. These things are luxuries, okay? And these luxuries, there's a huge market of people who want luxuries and are willing to invest in luxuries. And there's nothing wrong with you. It's actually very smart of you to realize that there's a market for it, and you getting in that market and getting some of that money. You get what you want, they get what they want, everybody wins. And the government collects taxes off all of it. So it's a win-win-win situation, ladies and gentlemen. Point number 3. Today's topic is why it is good to want material things in your life. Number 3, often the acquisition of a material good is not even about the thing itself, even though we may think it's about the thing itself. It's often in how it makes you feel and what you now feel empowered to do once you have the material thing. That's really what the aspiring to and acquiring of material things is often really about. Even if the person who has acquired something can't quite articulate it in this way, that's really what it does for them. Energy is valuable, and energy is worth investing in. So when somebody if you're riding a bus and you want to get yourself a nice, whatever you consider a nice car. Once you get it, it's not like you're living in the car. You're not sleeping in the car. You're probably not even in the car the majority of your life. You're sleeping for 8 hours a day. Let's assume that you have shelter to sleep in. And let's assume that you actually, you go to school, you play sports, you go to work, you have a business, you have a job, whatever. You're not in the car the majority of your time every single day. But just knowing that you have that car, knowing that you went from riding on a bus to now having that vehicle, you walk a different way. You carry yourself with a different energy. You feel a little bit more confident. You are a little bit more, maybe a lot more happy just with yourself when you look in the mirror. Why? Is the car actually doing that thing for you? No, the car is an inanimate object. Okay, it doesn't have any feelings. But the fact that you know that you have it, the fact that you know that that thing has your name on it, you carry yourself differently through life. That is a different energy. And that energy is valuable, because when you carry yourself differently in life, people look at you differently. And when people look at you differently, they respond differently. And when they respond differently, you can get completely different results dealing with the exact same people you were dealing with before when you were riding the bus as you are now that you pulled up in that luxury car. And listen, they don't even have to know you have the car. They didn't even see the car. They don't even know what you drive. They don't even know that you drive, period. But the fact that you walk in with a different energy changes the way that they respond to you. This is a very, very real thing in life. When we talk about the be, do, have principles, I covered this in my book, Work on Your Game. Also, the whole book, The Mirror of Motivation, is all about this, the being part of it. When you change who you are being, meaning your energy, the way that you see yourself, the things that you do produce completely different results. Therefore, when you get that material thing that you have long wanted, or maybe you just wanted it 5 minutes ago, now you got it, now you feel great about it, your energy has changed. Your being has changed. Therefore, you can go do the exact same actions that you were doing 2 days ago, and you'll get completely different results. Exact same actions. Why? Because your energy changed. The way that you did it changed. It's like if somebody has a recipe and you just change the order of how you do things in a recipe. Are you going to get a different cake? Are you going to complete a different dish? Is it going to taste different? Of course it is. Why? Because you changed the order of operations. You changed the energy with which you were doing things. When somebody goes to the gym, for example, or to the doctor to better their body, what are they investing in? they're investing in their looks, right? You go to the gym and work out all the time for 6 months, and let's just assume you have some kind of plan, or somebody who has a plan is helping you, and you have some idea what you're doing. You're investing in your looks. And the change that comes with that, investing in your looks, does that change how a person feels about themselves? Of course it does. Does it change what that person does with their life? Of course it does. A woman goes to a gym for 6 months. She hasn't never worked out in her life. She doesn't really feel that physically attractive. She doesn't like the way her significant other is looking at her when she's naked. But then she starts going to the gym for 6 months and working out and has a trainer and is following the program and all of that. And then over the course of 6 months, there's a body transformation. Does her energy change? Does she buy different clothes? Does she wear different stuff? Does she walk differently when she's walking around the neighborhood? Of course. Why? Because energy changes. It's not about the gym. It ain't about the push-ups and the sit-ups or the boot camp class. It's about the energy that she now has because of the change that she sees within herself. And some people get that by going to the doctor. Some people get it going to the gym. Some people get it by buying a new sweater. Some people get it by the shoes that they have on. There's nothing wrong with any of that. Again, as long as you are not violating anyone else. How people feel about themselves and what they do with their life is completely controlled by the energy that people have and how they look at themselves based on, and for some people, it is based on what they have. Again, maybe that's not for you, but if it is for you, I'm here to let you know that I'm defending you here today, okay? I'm letting you know that there's nothing wrong with that, even though your broke friends or your poor-minded family members have tried to tell you that something's wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with it. This is a real thing. Money itself, ladies and gentlemen, is worthless. All right, if you put money down on the table, I don't care how much money it is, you just leave it there, nothing is going to happen. All right, the money is just a piece of paper. The power of money is in its use. Money is only powerful when you're using it. All right, having it itself is not powerful. Now, if you know someone has money, you may say, you look at them different because you know that they got a certain amount of money, or you believe they have money. What makes you look at them different is not the fact that they have the money, it's the potential of what they could do with the money if they wanted to. That's what makes you look at them different. It's not the money itself. Money itself does absolutely nothing. It's the use of it that gives it power, and the potential use of it that gives people power. So if you want a nice car and you got the means to get it, go get it. Riding in that car could increase your confidence. And when your confidence increases, people are going to look at you different. You look at yourself different. Is that worth something to you? Could that do some things for you in your life? If the answer is yes, so maybe you don't know yet. Maybe you got to find out. But you have a right to want it. That's the whole point that we're making here today. Let's recap today's class, which is why it is good to want material possessions. Some people will tell you, go after the goal. Don't worry about the money. Don't worry about the material things. Or someone who has become financially well off and is publicly noted, when they're asked about it, they'll say things like, I always hear people saying things like, well, I didn't care about the money. I was just focused on, getting this idea out there, getting my platform out there, and the money just came with it. Maybe they're telling the truth, but I find it hard to believe that there are very few people who will just come out and say, you know what, the reason I was doing this is I wanted to make some fucking money. I wanted to make a lot of money. I want to have a nice house and nice cars and go on nice trips and just live a nice, lavish lifestyle. That's what I wanted. That's the reason why I did all of this. And in the process, I helped a whole lot of people. I rarely hear anybody say that. I don't know why. Well, there are many. Actually, I do know why, but that's not today's topic. Point number one, if you can conceive it, you can achieve it. The thought exists in your mind because it's something that you not only want, but you are capable of having. Okay? If their style, the material things, and substance is giving value to the world, who says that you have to pick one? You can do both. Point number two, maybe you just want what you want. And if you can get it, nobody has a right to tell you that you can't aim for it. There are material things, luxury items out there in the world. The reason they exist because people want them. And the reason they keep existing because people keep buying them. Okay, so if you want things that you want them. If it's not basic food, clothing, shelter, you can call it a luxury. It will be categorized as a luxury item. There's nothing wrong with wanting luxury items. Just because you got poor and broke-minded people around you who don't think they can afford luxury items or they don't deserve luxury items does not mean you need to be the next one in line who thinks the exact same way. Choose to change your mentality. Point number three. Often the acquisition of a material good is not about the thing itself. It's about how it makes you feel, and what you feel you are now empowered to do because you have it. Energy is valuable and it is worth investing in, no matter how you are investing in it. Some people do it through the gym. Some people do it through reading books. Some people do it through watching YouTube. Some people do it through making videos. Some people do it through buying something, luxury item that makes them feel good because it serves their ego. Everyone is different. Everyone is unique. You do not have to think the same way as other people around you. Do not let anyone tell you that wanting a material thing is a bad thing, because if there's something bad about it, then people wouldn't keep selling it. Work on your game. Dre, all